Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a topic that many people find fascinating and frustrating: narcissism. You see them everywhere, these people who seem larger than life, radiating confidence. But is it real? What's going on beneath the surface? Today we're going to explore the paradox of narcissism, how narcissists, despite their seemingly confident and grandiose personas, end up sabotaging their own happiness. Let's break it down together, using some scientific research and insights from famous thinkers. Stay with me because this is going to be an eye-opener. Let's start by understanding the driving force behind many of a narcissist's actions: the insatiable need for validation. Narcissists live for admiration. Their self-worth is entirely dependent on external validation. Think about that for a second. Imagine having to rely on others to feel good about yourself all the time. Exhausting, right? You see, deep down, narcissists often grapple with a fragile sense of self. Their internal world is often one of emptiness and insecurity, even if they don't show it. To compensate for this inner fragility, they construct a false self, a persona of grandiosity and self-importance. And to maintain this facade, they crave constant admiration and recognition from others. It's like they're perpetually starving for validation, always needing another hit of praise to feel worthy. Studies published show that narcissists are highly sensitive to social feedback. When they receive praise, they're on top of the world. Their ego inflates, they feel invincible, and they might even shower you with attention and charm, as long as you're feeding their need for admiration. But here's the catch. This dependence on external validation makes them incredibly vulnerable. When they face criticism, or worse, indifference, they experience a deep emotional crash. Imagine someone disagreeing with them, or, heaven forbid, ignoring them. Their carefully constructed world starts to crumble. They might react with anger, rage, denial, or even withdraw completely. This roller coaster of self-esteem keeps them trapped in a cycle of highs and lows with no lasting sense of happiness. This constant need for external validation becomes a self-defeating cycle, preventing them from finding genuine happiness within themselves. Have you ever known someone who seemed to collect people like trophies? That's a hallmark of narcissism. Narcissists don't build deep, meaningful connections with people. Instead, they view relationships as transactional. They ask themselves, what can this person do for me? It could be social status, financial gain, or just an ego boost. Narcissists are always looking for something in return. Their relationships lack genuine empathy and emotional depth. They may struggle to understand or care about the feelings and needs of others, or they may simply disregard them altogether, laser-focused on their own desires. This lack of empathy creates a significant barrier to forming genuine, reciprocal relationships. It's no wonder their relationships tend to be tumultuous and short-lived, often ending in a trail of hurt and resentment. People eventually realize they're being used or that their needs are not being met. Research from the found that narcissists often struggle to maintain long-term friendships or romantic relationships. Their tendency to prioritize their own needs above others leads to conflict and resentment. And when those relationships inevitably falter or fail, they don't look inward. They might play the victim, claiming they were mistreated or misunderstood, or they might lash out and devalue the person they perceive as having wronged them. This pattern of blame and lack of accountability prevents them from learning from their mistakes and evolving as individuals. The tragedy is that deep down, narcissists, like all of us, crave love and connection. But their fear of vulnerability, their need for control, and their inability to truly empathize with others create an invisible wall that prevents them from experiencing the intimacy and fulfillment they desperately seek. Here's a secret. Vulnerability is the cornerstone of meaningful relationships. It's what allows us to connect deeply with others, to build trust and intimacy. But narcissists see vulnerability as a weakness, something to be avoided at all costs. To them, admitting any kind of flaw or imperfection threatens their carefully constructed image. Think of it like this. They've built a fortress around their fragile ego, and showing vulnerability is akin to lowering the drawbridge, leaving them exposed and open to attack. They're terrified of being judged, rejected, or, worst of all, seen as ordinary. Studies show that narcissists are emotionally avoidant. They don't want to face their own fears, insecurities, or doubts, and they definitely don't want anyone else to see them. This constant shielding of their true selves prevents them from experiencing the kind of authentic, fulfilling connections that lead to happiness. Carl Jung, the famous psychiatrist, once said, The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But narcissists can't embrace this truth. They're too focused on maintaining their facade of perfection. They miss out on the joy of being loved and accepted for who they truly are, flaws and all. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's where real connection and joy begin. Another way narcissists sabotage their own happiness is by setting unrealistic expectations for themselves and others. Narcissists believe they deserve the best of everything, whether it's success, admiration, or material possessions. This deep-seated sense of entitlement stems from their inflated self-image. They truly believe they are exceptional and therefore deserving of special treatment and privileges. The problem is life doesn't work that way. Reality has a nasty habit of interfering with even the most carefully crafted fantasies. A study found that narcissists tend to overestimate their own abilities and the positive outcomes of their actions. They might overestimate their intelligence, their skills, or their chances of success in various endeavors. This distorted view of reality sets them up for disappointment. When reality doesn't match their expectations, as it inevitably will, they become frustrated, angry, and often lash out. William Shakespeare summed it up perfectly when he wrote, "And for narcissists, this couldn't be more true." Their inflated sense of entitlement ensures that they're always chasing more and never feeling fulfilled. One of the most destructive behaviors narcissists engage in is their steadfast refusal to take accountability for their actions. In their world, they can do no wrong. They are never the problem, it's always someone else's fault. This inability to acknowledge their own shortcomings stems from their fragile egos. Admitting fault or error would shatter the illusion of perfection they've so carefully constructed. When things go wrong, whether it's a failed relationship, a botched project at work, or even a minor conflict, they have an arsenal of defense mechanisms at the ready. They might blame others, make excuses, minimize their role in the situation, or even deny reality altogether. Their goal is to protect their ego at all costs, even if it means distorting the truth or hurting those around them. As Winston Churchill wisely said, "The price of greatness is responsibility." But narcissists don't want to pay that price. By refusing to take responsibility for their actions, they remain stuck in a loop of self-defeating behaviors that keep them from finding true happiness. Narcissists are notorious for avoiding self-reflection. They are so focused on projecting a flawless image to the world that they never stop to look inward and examine their own shortcomings. This aversion to self-reflection is a defense mechanism. They fear that looking too closely at their flaws will shatter their carefully constructed self-image. This refusal to self-reflect means that they continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. They may sabotage their relationships, their careers, and their own happiness by engaging in the same destructive patterns of behavior. They fail to learn from their experiences and grow as individuals because they are too busy maintaining their facade. As Carl Rogers, a humanistic psychologist, once said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." But narcissists never truly accept themselves, flaws and all. They are too busy clinging to their idealized self-image. This lack of self-awareness keeps them trapped in a cycle of dysfunction. Finally, let's talk about the unattainable perfection. Narcissists are in a never-ending pursuit of it, whether it's in their appearance, their work, or their social status. They are driven by a need to be seen as the best, the most successful, the most envied. This relentless pursuit of an illusion stems from their deep-seated insecurity and their need for external validation. But as many of us know, perfection is a moving target. It's subjective, fleeting, and ultimately impossible to achieve. This endless chase for something that doesn't exist creates an enormous amount of stress and anxiety for narcissists. They are constantly comparing themselves to others, always striving for more, never feeling content with what they have achieved. Even when they achieve something remarkable, a promotion, a prestigious award, a beautiful home, it's never enough. There's always another goalpost, another mountain to climb, another person to outshine. They are trapped in a cycle of striving and dissatisfaction, never truly experiencing the joy of accomplishment or the peace of contentment. In their pursuit of perfection, they sabotage their own happiness by constantly chasing an impossible goal. So what can we take away from this? Happiness doesn't come from external validation, perfection, or avoiding responsibility. It comes from within. It comes from being vulnerable, taking accountability, and focusing on what truly matters. connection, growth, and self-acceptance. It's about building genuine connections based on empathy, vulnerability, and mutual respect. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into psychology and personal growth.